Okay, so now in this video we will add the select character menu. Okay, so if you click on the select character scene right here, we have this scene. So if you click on maps now, and in the maps we have this KDA Avalanche and Stage Moonlight Edition. I've shown you where I've got this from in the starting of this course, so make sure that you check that video out if you missed that. Now in the source we have this source right here. Okay, this is the whole stage, so I'm just gonna drag and drop it in there, and when you drag and drop it, everything will be already set up. Make sure that you reset the transform. Okay, and now right here we will add all of our characters and set up the camera. Okay, so let me double click on it. Here it is. Double click on main camera. Okay, this is our main camera right here. So I'm gonna reset the main camera as well. Let's move it up. It's facing that side, so make it rotate Y on 90 so that it is right here. Okay, so you can set up the camera somewhere in this direction. If you open up the Evelyn, in the Evelyn dance stage, click on prefab, click on unpack completely and delete this camera. Okay, because we don't need that camera. We need our own camera, which is this one. Okay, so now I will have to move this camera a little bit down like this. Okay, and move it up a little bit. Okay, and when you move it up, move it forward like this. Okay, now in here we will show our characters. Let's move it down. Okay, that's it. So select the directional light and this, and create an empty parent for them by the name of environment. Okay, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get back to the scenes folder and open up map 1. Right here, as you know, that we have this player characters in which we have the player characters. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on prefab and drag and drop this player character from there in the prefabs. Okay, and then select this player character and make sure that you click on prefab and unpack completely so that any change we did in this prefab doesn't apply to this. Okay, just leave this as it is. Then click on scene view, select character scene, click on now prefab folder and drag and drop this prefab folder in here. Okay, reset it so that it is right here. Okay, this is the characters. Rotate them on 180. There they are. Move them to the ground. Okay, let me click on prefab, unpack completely right here as well. Open up all of the characters like this and disable their fighting controller script, animator and character controller. Disable all of that and change the scale to 1, 1 and 1 so that they fit in here. Okay, Eddie is a little bit, Eddie is not playing the same idle thing as the other characters. So what we're gonna do for Eddie is to actually remove Eddie from there now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just simply delete Eddie and click on player characters, select Eddie from here and drag and drop it in player characters. Okay, make sure that Eddie is on the ground and Eddie is on the top. Okay, make sure Eddie is in the top in the player characters because Eddie is on the top on in our maps. Okay, so make sure he is on the top right here as well. Move it forward and let's make him 0.9, 0.9, 0.9 so that he's of the same height as the other ones. Okay, so how many characters you have, make sure that you have all of them right here in the same position as you have that characters on your map 1, map 2 and map 3. Okay, make sure that their numbers are not different on this scene. So everything is in line. Okay, let me disable the animator of Eddie and then disable all of these characters as well. That's it. Now we need to create some buttons in order to uh, change the character, for example, next character or previous character, and select that character. So we're going to create buttons for it. For the buttons, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the scripts, the sprites folder, and in here we have these buttons. Okay, so what I will do now is I'm going to create a UI canvas. Let me click on 2D. Here it is. This is the canvas. Okay, make sure that this canvas is scale with screen size and then 1920 1080. Let me click on scene, click on main menu. Let's check this one. Okay, we didn't change this to scale with screen size. Okay, let me turn on the main menu. If we click on this canvas, change to scale with screen size and make it 1920 and then 1080. Okay, make sure that you do this one as well and then check each of your menu again. Options menu, enable it. It looks good. Controls, it looks good as well. Then the other one, it looks good as well. You can also start the game and then make it maximize. Okay, here it is. Right here, everything looks good as well. If you click on select character now, as you can see, we are on the select character scene. Alright, so it looks good. Just make sure that you make each of your canvas scale with screen size and set the X and Y like this. Okay, now click on the select character again. This is our canvas. Click on scene view. We need to create few buttons right here, so create a legacy button. From this button, delete the text, select the button, and to this button what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on sprites and drag and drop this sprite in there and click on set native size. Okay, this is the button. What we're gonna do is we're gonna change the rotation Z of this button to 180, because using this button we will go back to our previous character and move this button to middle left side, okay, which is right there, and then move it a little bit away from there. Make sure it is right here. Okay, name this button as previous button, then you can duplicate it and name this one as next button, change its Z back to 0 and move it to the middle right side. So since its position X is 128, the previous button, so the next button position X will be minus 128. Okay, now as you can see they are in the same directions. I mean in the same place. And now we need to add an accept button or OK button. So duplicate that and this time name this button as OK or something like that. Make sure it is in the bottom center, which is right there. Move it up a little bit. Okay, and in this one drag and drop this and click on set native size. It is really big, so press Ctrl Z. Make the width 100 and the height 100 as well. That is it. Okay, so these will be our buttons for moving to the next character or moving to the previous and then selecting that character. Okay, once we have these options, the next thing now to do is to add an option to move between these characters, and when we select some character we want to show that character in our stages as well. Okay, so click on scripts UI. In the UI, create a C# script by the name of player selection, or just player selection. Okay, that's it. Then you will have to click on player character and drag and drop this player selection script. Then let's open this up. Right here at the top, add this, and then let's remove the start and update method. What we're gonna do at the top is we will make a reference to our player characters main parent game object, then create a private game object, make it an array, and name this as all characters. Then create a private integer by the name of current index, set it equals to 0. Okay, now let me show you how we will choose different characters. So in this all characters, we will get all of the characters from this player characters and store it in here. And then as you know that our first character will be on index 0, our second will be on index 1, and our third will be on index 2. So according to this index 0, 1, 2, 3, we will choose the character and store that character, and then whenever we play any stage, that character will be already selected. Okay, let's complete this script, and then when we test it out you will know what I mean. Alright, first of all we need to create a method for showing the current character, or you can say the previous selected character of the player. So for that we will go through all of the characters. So for that we will use a for each, in which we will create a game object by the name of characters, and we will go through all of the characters. As I told you, we will store all of the characters in this all characters. Okay, and then we will only activate that character which the player previously selected, or you can say previously chosen, and we will deactivate all the other characters. So deactivate all the other characters, and from the all characters dot pass a current index to it dot set active, and we will set only that character to true which the player previously selected. Okay, now in the start, what we're gonna do, we're gonna set the all characters to new game object. All characters, actually not all characters, it is player characters. Okay, so player characters, and right here it is all characters, because as I told you I will store all of the players in this all characters. Okay, and I will take it from this player characters, because this player characters is a reference to our parent game object player characters, and in that parent we have all of the characters. So we will take all of that characters and store it in this all characters right here. Okay, so how we will take them, we will say player characters dot transform dot child count. Okay, and then we will create a for loop, create an integer I, set it equals to 0, and then we will say if that I is less than the player characters dot transform dot child count, then I plus plus, because we want to get all of the characters. So all characters, pass I to it, and then it will be equals to player characters dot transform dot get child, and get all the child from it. And when we get all of them, then we will store them inside the all characters and set them to false. Okay, because we don't want to show them. We only want to show the previously selected character or the first character in the index. Alright, so for showing it, we will call the show current character method. And also we want to store that character, so whenever we close the game and play that game again, we want that character to be selected already. Okay, so we will store that characters using PlayerPrefs in Unity. You can read more about PlayerPrefs. Okay, go ahead to the Unity documentation, search on it, search PlayerPrefs Unity documentation, and then you can read about it. Okay, so I will create a PlayerPref by the name of selected character index, and inside this the current index, current index will be equals to the PlayerPrefs dot get integer, and we want to get the selected character index. So now our character is stored as well, and we are getting it back and setting to this current index, and then we are activating that current character again if the game starts. Now for selecting the next character and the previous character, we will have to create a method. So let's do it for first of all the next character. If we press the next button, then what we want to do, the current index will be equals to current index plus 1, okay, current index plus 1 divided by all characters dot length. Right, so it will keep going until the length is finished, and then we will call the show current character method. Okay, now for moving to the previous character, what we're gonna do, we will name this as previous character, and now instead of plus we will use minus, and then plus all characters dot length, and that's it. And now for selecting the new character and saving it, we're gonna create a new method, okay, by the name of on yes button click. We name our button as OK, but right here I've typed yes, so we will rename it to yes once the script is done. Okay, this will require a string by the name of scene as well. Okay, and now for storing that new character, we will use PlayerPrefs dot set integer. We will store it in this selected character index. We will pass the current index to it so that it is stored, and when it is stored, we will call the PlayerPrefs.save, and now the character is saved. And when it is saved, we will say scene manager dot load scene name. Okay, because when we select any character and press the yes button, then we want to go back to the main menu scene again. Okay, so right here we will pass the main menu to it, and then it will load the main menu scene after selecting the character. Okay, so this is all for our player selection. Right here we can drag and drop this player character in there. Okay, and then open up the canvas, change this from OK to yes or yes button. Okay, and now when the previous button is clicked, what we're gonna do, we will drag and drop the player character in there. So drag and drop the player character in there, and from the player selection, select the previous character method on the next button, and yes button, add on click event as well. Select the next button, drag and drop the player character, and from the player selection, select the next character, and on the yes, drag and drop it, and select on yes button clicked, and it needs the scene name, so the scene name is main menu. So this will basically now store the character. Okay, and now if we play the game and select the next button, as you can see, it changes the character. Next and previous button works perfectly fine, as you can see. So now for example, if we select this character, press this, as you can see that character is selected and we are right here. Now if you click on play and click on select stage, as you can see we don't have the select stage menu now. So in the next video we will work on our select stage menu. So with this done, see you guys in the next one.